What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus package updates, daily news, everything going on here in Congress, in Washington, D.C., in our country, everything you need to know about on a daily basis. Money, investing, the stock market. Remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't yet. It's completely free to do so you don't miss out on new videos. And don't forget to smash the like button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. Congress has been super busy here. They actually passed 4 bills last night alone in the House and the Senate, and 2 the night before in the House. So, yeah, you can't make this stuff up here. And one very major thing here yesterday, check this out. The Senate votes to nix Biden's vaccine mandate for businesses. Yeah.
Does any senator wish to change his or her vote? If not, the yeas are 52, the nays are 48. The joint resolution is passed.
Yeah, so a major decision here for our country here. The Senate on Wednesday night voted to nix President Biden's vaccine mandate for larger businesses over 100 employees, handing the Republicans a symbolic win. Senators voted 52 to 48, along with 2 Democrats. I'll give you a guess on who voted with them. With needing only a simple majority to be approved. I'll get to that here in a second. Democratic Senators John Tester from Montana and Joe Manchin, dun, 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 from West Virginia, voted with the Republican, giving it enough support to be sent over to the House. Now, a couple things here. Number one, Joe Manchin just said here, like the day or two before, that he's vaccinated. But he doesn't think that the government should require vaccinations in this capacity. So he voted against this, along with Senator John Tester. Another thing that's really interesting here is that this did not require 60 votes with the normal filibuster. And I have not seen anything on why that is the case. I don't know why. I haven't seen a single piece of any information anywhere on why that is. So I would give you information if I had seen it, but I haven't seen anything on it. If anybody here knows, comment down below. I haven't seen anything on it. I would tell you if I had seen anything on it. The other thing is here, I also haven't seen why Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer didn't block the vote on this. Okay, I have seen information that Nancy Pelosi may block the vote on this in the House. Okay, if you've been watching the show, and I just know this information just because I do this every day. We know this from Mitch McConnell as well, that a lot of times when Mitch McConnell was Senate Majority Leader, he would just, and Nancy Pelosi can do this too, that if they don't like a bill, they can just not put it up for a vote. Okay. Now, I kind of have a feeling here that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer maybe is playing nice with the Republicans, even though Democrats don't like this. This is President Biden's, vaccine mandate here. That maybe Chuck Schumer kind of is maybe playing ball here with the Republicans because they have the debt limit vote that is going to be today. And he knows that that is a bigger issue. Well, maybe not a big, well, I mean, the vaccine issue is a really, really big issue here for our country. But he knows that this has to go to the House as well. Okay. The vaccine mandate issue. Okay. Get to that here in a second. But he knows the debt limit has to be passed. It has to be passed to prevent our country from literally defaulting. U.S. government default. It's kind of like the U.S. government going into bankruptcy. Okay? It's like the worst thing that could happen economically. So maybe, and I'm just kind of speculating here, maybe Schumer didn't block it because he needs the Republicans to vote with this. And if he blocked it like the day before the debt limit vote, he would have kind of sunk himself and said, well, the Republicans are saying, I'm not voting for that now. Maybe. It's just kind of a thought here. Maybe there's some other reason here. But there's not really a lot of information going on around about this. But nonetheless, all the Republicans voted yes on this bill to block the vaccine mandate, along with two Democrats, John Tester and Joe Manchin. So that bill has now passed the Senate. Major implications here for our country. Of course, Biden's vaccine mandates have also been blocked by a couple different federal courts as well. Could be going to the Supreme Court as well. Also, this is like affecting hundreds of millions of people here. And of course, we know very controversial. A lot of people kind of are for them. A lot of people are against them. And just to kind of let you guys know, I've seen a recent articles here that says up to 82% of Americans have at least, or up to 82% of eligible adults, I should say, not counting children that aren't eligible and babies and stuff like that, have gotten at least one shot. Okay. Just to kind of give you the numbers there, but a lot of people's kind of fates are at stake here because some people their jobs are at stake here, right? Because they're some people are kind of being they're being forced with decisions here, like, hey, get the shot or lose your job potentially, right? So these are like major implications for our country here. But as you can see here, this resolution now faces an uphill path going now to the House of Representatives, where Republicans aren't able to use a similar fast track process to force a vote over the objections over Democratic leadership. Maybe that's where it comes into play here on why Schumer couldn't block it. Instead, Republicans are hoping to get the simple majority needed to force a vote through the discharge petition, which will require support from a handful of House Democrats to pass the vote. But President Biden can veto this if it even passes the House. Republicans view Wednesday's Senate vote as a significant win, and it's the first time they've been able to use the Congressional Review Act to significantly get a resolution targeting a Biden rule through the Senate. Yeah. Senator Joe Manchin argued in a statement that the federal government, quote, should incentivize, not penalize, private employers whose responsibility it is to protect their employees from the virus. Senator John Tester, who also voted against it, added this week that he's not, quote, crazy about the mandates. Okay, yesterday we heard from Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell from the Republicans. Here is Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on the debt limit, the vote coming up, as well as the Build Back Better package, the stimulus package, multiple different things. Here he is with a lot of info. This speech was from late last night.
Mr. President, I said the Senate had a lot of hard work to do in order to address several critical priorities before the end of the year. When the month began, America knew we had to avoid a government shutdown. We had to approve our annual defense bill. We had to preserve the full faith and credit of the United States and take action on Build Back Better before Christmas, as well as deal with voting rights. It is now December 8th, and the Senate is making very good progress on all these priorities. It was a big agenda, and we're clearly not through with it, but we are making good progress, and there is clearly light at the end of the tunnel on debt ceiling and the defense bill, based on the agreement Leader McConnell and I came to and the House's action last night. Last night, let me go over those details. The House of Representatives sent us two important pieces of legislation. One of them is a compromise version of our annual defense bill, which I expect will earn bipartisan support in this chamber in the coming days. I want to thank my colleagues, especially Senator Reid and Ranking Member Inhofe, and all of my colleagues who worked to shape this legislation for helping us make sure we pass a bipartisan defense bill this year, as we have done for decades. The second bill they sent us will enable the chamber to swiftly address the debt limit, sparing our country from the calamity, and a calamity it would have been, of a first-ever default on our national debt. This fast-track process was included in a bill that will also provide critical protections for Medicare funding and preventing slashes in that very important funding to so many seniors, and waive the pay-go rule to avoid harmful cuts. Last night, I took the first procedural step to advance this legislation, setting up a cloture vote to take place as soon as Thursday. Once our proposal is approved by the Senate, we'll be able to address the debt limit in this chamber with a simple majority vote, which is exactly what Democrats have been seeking for months, what I've been asking for at this podium time after time after time. I want to thank the Republican leader for his help working with us to find a responsible path that avoids partisan brinksmanship. Democrats have always said that the Senate should be able to raise the debt limit without resorting to a convoluted, lengthy, and risky reconciliation process. And under our plan, we won't have to do that. Democrats have also said repeatedly that the responsible thing to do is raise the debt ceiling. Both Democrats and Republicans voted for the spending increase. So we've said repeatedly that we're ready to shoulder this burden.
Okay, just real quickly, just to give you a quick rundown, the way I think it's going to go is the way it went last time is they're going to have a first vote in the Senate, which is going to need 60 votes, okay? That's really the main vote that is going to be the really hard one to do. They're going to need 50 votes from the Democrats. Joe Manchin is going to be a questionable vote. Just assume that they get Joe Manchin's vote. They get 50 votes from the Democrats. And then they're going to need 10 votes at least from the Republicans, okay? Right now, it looks like they have 9 votes, okay? Because last time around, they had 11 Republicans vote for it. They only had 1 extra. This time around, there's 2 Republicans from that 11 that are saying, they're not going to vote for it this time around. So assuming that all the Republicans last time around that voted no aren't going to change their mind, which is what you would think, okay? That anybody that voted no last time on the debt limit, you would think they're not going to change their mind this time. I mean, it could be, but that's kind of the most logical thought process. You would think that there's only 59 votes. So we're going to be very, very close here. They're going to need to change somebody's mind to get 60 votes. So we're very, very close here. We're going to probably get 59 to 60 votes is the most likely scenario. Be very, very close here. After they get the 60 votes, if it passes, then there's going to be another vote after that that only requires a simple majority. So 50 to 51 votes, okay? If it's a 50-50 tie, then the 51st vote goes to the Vice President of the United States for the 51st tie. If there's not 50 Republicans that vote, so say there's only 49 Republicans present, then they don't even need the Vice President to vote. So say there's 50 Democrats that vote and 49 Republicans that vote, say one's not present or doesn't vote, then they don't even need the tiebreaker vote. So that second vote is where all the Republicans will vote no, and then all the Democrats will essentially raise the debt limit on their own and shoulder all the burden on their own, and all the Republicans will vote no, and all the Democrats will vote yes, and essentially raise the debt limit on their own with the final vote, okay? But it's the vote before that that really counts. That's the vote where all the marbles and everything really matters to get that 60 votes, okay? The second vote is kind of a no-brainer. It's the vote before that that is really the hard one to get the 60 votes. If they don't pass that vote, they don't even make it to the easier vote after that, all right?
Even if our Republican colleagues are not going to be able to. It now looks like we'll be able to do that. To have 50 Democrats vote responsibly, doing what's good for the nation, avoiding catastrophe by raising the debt ceiling to pay the debts we have already incurred, just like any household must do. This agreement we've secured is the responsible path forward. No gamesmanship on the debt limit means no default on our sovereign debt and the calamity that would cause. And again, I thank my Republican colleagues and Leader McConnell. We have had fruitful, honest, and good discussions over the last several weeks to come up with this proposal. We're not over the finish line yet, but I want to thank all my colleagues for working in good faith to move forward on this responsibility that must be addressed in the coming days.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Thank you for thanking the Republicans. That's the way we're supposed to do business. Now, I know Mitch McConnell didn't do that yesterday, and I'm going to fault him as well. That's how you're supposed to do business. You're supposed to say, thank you, let's do business honorably, like polite gentlemen and gentlewomen, and let's do business like honorable people. Or at least that's how I would do business, right? I know that's not how it always works. Now, on the stimulus package.
So in the first few days of December, we've successfully avoided a government shutdown. We've cleared the path, hopefully for addressing the debt limit. And as I mentioned, I'm optimistic that NDAA will soon be settled. None of these are easy accomplishments, but we are clearing the path for Democrats to turn to our biggest domestic priority of the year, passing President Biden's Build Back Better Act before Christmas. I continue to hold daily conversations with my Democratic colleagues, with the White House, with the Speaker, and House colleagues. We continue to make good progress, and we are still on track to vote on a final product before Christmas. The sooner we can pass Build Back Better, the better off American families will be as we start the new year. This bill has always been about a simple goal: cutting costs for working and middle-class families. People are complaining about higher costs. They're right to do that. This bill actually lowers costs in many different areas and will help families who are trying to make ends meet and stretch those dollars. Let me give you some examples. Families are still struggling to pull themselves out of a once-in-a-century economic crisis brought about by COVID. They want to pay less for things like health care, prescription drugs, child care, some of the biggest costs average middle-income and working families have. They want us to find ways to make that happen, and that's exactly what Build Back Better does. America, you want lower costs? Tell your senators to vote for Build Back Better.
I think he's talking directly to Senator Joe Manchin and Senator Kirsten Sinema right there. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe even the Republicans too, but the Republicans are not going to vote for the Build Back Better package. It's just kind of, they're just not going to. You could try, but they're just not going to. Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema, well, that's a different story, so I'll keep you up to date on that. Also, the House of Representatives passed 3 other bills yesterday. This having to do with China and banning some stuff from them. And we're starting to get into some kind of contentious hot water with both China and Russia here. If you've been following the channel here, we're starting to get into some kind of controversy with both countries here. Remember, the U.S. has just announced a diplomatic ban of the Olympics for the U.S. Diplomats from the Olympics, and multiple other countries have joined the U.S. to do that here. The Olympic athletes are still going to go from the U.S. as of right now. They could boycott that as well. But look at what the House just did yesterday as well. The U.S. House of Representatives passed 3 bills to pressure China amid the Olympic boycotts. Yeah, things are starting to get pretty heated here between the two countries. The House on Wednesday passed measures to exert diplomatic pressure on the Chinese government and the International Olympic Committee for alleged failures to uphold human rights, as the U.S. urged allies to join its official boycott of the 2022 Winter Games in Beijing that start in February. Passage of 3 separate bills addressing the Chinese government treatment of Uyghur Muslims and the tennis player Peng Shuai come after the Biden administration announced earlier this week that it will not send any government officials to the Winter Olympic Games in February. Since then, Governments of Australia, Britain, Lithuania, and Canada have also followed and said that they'll join the U.S. diplomatic boycott. Yeah. Quote, if Nancy Pelosi says, if we do not speak out for human rights in China because of our commercial or economic ties, we will lose all moral authority to speak out against human rights violations anywhere in the world. House lawmakers passed a first bill 428 to 1 that would prohibit imports from China's Xinjiang region. Prohibit imports from that region. That sounds pretty major, honestly. Where the government is accused of holding these Muslims in forced labor camps, as well as sanction officials involved in human rights abuses. Wow. Another resolution that passed 427 to 1 formally condemns the ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity being condemned against these Muslims as well. And a third bill that was passed in the House, passed 428 to 0, puts the House on record with the position of the Olympic Committee that it's legitimizing the Chinese government claims about this Chinese tennis player who has disappeared from public views after alleging that she was assaulted by a top Communist Party official. That's been major news. We reported on that as well. Yeah, so the US is having international issues with China and Russia right now. Yeah, let me know your thoughts here in the comments. It's been a busy December already here. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything as they work towards passing the stimulus package. They're working on committees with the Senate parliamentarian, also working forward towards getting Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema's votes, as well as passing the debt limit possibly today and seeing if they actually can get the 60 votes, as well as everything going on here in our country and Washington, D.C. I'll keep you up to date with everything going on here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's free to do so. Literally just click the subscribe button down below, and then afterwards click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button to get notifications when we go live with new videos on our YouTube channel here, which is every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times and don't miss any videos. I'll keep you up to date with everything here. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And this video is about new Social Security raises that could be raising Social Security benefits by several $100s per month. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.